How much do you believe in TikTok Shop? And so again, this is one of those, like, you have to take the leap of faith. But this TikTok Shop is definitely one where, like, the juice is worth the squeeze. There are exponential returns because this is changing the game on e-commerce. The brands that will be winning on Amazon are the brands that have mastered social commerce because you figured out demand generation. I think at the end of the day, TikTok is one that you just have to continue to experiment with, right? I know one of
because it's so new, right? Like,
it's so new, and there's very
right.
few SOPs and very few playbooks, and everybody's playbook looks different right now. Everybody's does. Josh Snow had a fantastic call where he broke down what they're doing with their the teeth whitening stuff, right?
Right.
And theirs is different. Like, he's only bringing in 10 to 15 affiliates and paying them retainers, and then he recycles the bottom half of them, kicks them out the door, right? And he brings new people. So, like, that's the thing. There's 101 different ways for you guys to scale on TikTok Shop. Every brand is going to be different. Every niche is going to be different. Here's the beauty of the TikTok algorithm, right? Some of the questions are like, oh, I have like my target demographics like 40 to 70-year-olds. TikTok's still the place for you, right? Because guess what? TikTok will serve that to the right person. The right person that loves their late night infomercial stuff or whatever you're trying to sell, right?
Or the 40-year-old with a 70-year-old mom.
All of it. They'll find it, whatever your niche is. So I think that's the beauty of TikTok Shop. But here's what I would say. One of the things that I think people get tripped up on quite a bit, and I think that part of the reason why we stumbled upon decent success out of the gate was that we did not just do this blanket, like, who wants a sample? Come get him. It was a very targeted approach for us. And I'm not saying like we were looking at their GMV numbers. I wasn't looking at their following. It wasn't that. But what I was doing that I think is super important, that I still think most people overlook, is that we went with people that have already talked about early childhood education in their content. Whatever that is, we went with it. Like, you can put in those search terms: preschool, elementary, kindergarten, and it's going to populate all the creators that have ever talked about anything related to those keywords. And then I filtered it out and I said, I'm going to start with the women because that's our primary demographic, right? And so then I reached out to just those creators, and our success rate has been like, our response rate is 10% on TikTok Shop, or through our Yuka bot, it's 10%. Like, that's extremely high for a cold DM to these people, right? But they're replying because A, we have a product that fits them, and they're already talking about those things. And I feel like That's where most people go wrong. They're trying to say, hey, old man in your 70s, why don't you rep my preschool chart? And he's like, okay. And then they're frustrated. Why didn't this guy go viral? Well, why do you think he didn't go viral, right? Like, so I think that
guy's normally talking about incontinence for adults. And then you have them switching up and trying to sell something for toddlers. It's not going to work, right? You have to talk to the right influencer.
That's honestly my personal opinion, that it's like, if you go into, like, TikTok knows the type of products that sell with each of the influencers. Could they go viral on a rant? Like, here's one. We had a guy that all he does is talk about gym content. Somehow he got a sample. He went crazy viral with our product. And I was like, that's an anomaly, right? So, like, can it happen? Sure, but that is the only time I've seen it happen where somebody is like, I looked at his content and I'm like, this has no business being here, but it did okay, right? And he's somebody that just reached out for a sample himself. We weren't pursuing him specifically, but I would say, like, that's where it is, and it comes down to a volume game, right? Again, you touched on this, Brandon. People are like, oh, I did 100 samples, pat myself on the back. Try 1,000. And if that doesn't work, try 2,000. How much do you believe in TikTok Shop? Right? And so again, this is one of those, like, you have to take the leap of faith. But this TikTok Shop is definitely one where, like, the juice is worth the squeeze. There are exponential returns because this is changing the game on e-commerce. I know it is. the brands that will be winning on Amazon are the brands that have mastered social commerce, because you figured out demand generation. On Amazon, you cannot influence demand generation. Zero. You can do zero things on Amazon to influence demand for your product, right? You can show up when it's all about demand extraction, right? Which is like, oh, somebody's searching for this. Let me show up. That's not demand generation. The brands that will win have figured out demand generation, and that comes from TikTok Shop. It comes from social selling. It's going to come through working with affiliates. And you want to talk about, partnering with some even bigger celebrities. Through all of this, you may find a home run affiliate that is so good that maybe you're willing to bring them onto your cap table for your business. They are that good. And that's happening with some brands, right?
Wow.
But
Giving equity to these influencers because they're so good for you.
Yeah. And here's the last thing I'll say on that note, right? Another brand, I won't say who they are, but they created an equity offer with one of their biggest affiliates. Whenever he posts a video, everything does well, from Amazon to their Shopify site to, get this, their retail store sales. So how did they get into retail stores to begin with? Brands reached out to this brand, the retail stores reached out to this brand because so many people were coming in asking for their product.
Wow.
Okay. That's where I see our brand. Like, it's not going to be about how do we force ourselves into retail. Part of our vision and our mission is that we want to create a brand that people love, that retailers are asking us to put our.
And it's going to happen. You're going to make it happen. I love it.
It's all about the demand gen.
I know you're going to make it happen.